Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Preston M. Smith. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm Preston M. Smith, at PMS Artwork everywhere on internet land and socials. I want to thank you for landing on this podcast. Whether you're a professional artist, just getting started in the art world, a collector of art, or just consider yourself a creative person, this podcast has something for you. I like to think of it as a fun way to rant and talk to other creative people about living the life of an artist, surviving and getting ahead in the art world, and enjoying your life. But most importantly, not waiting until you're dead to make it happen. All right, let's get started.
How do you top your love for your cat? With a cascade of decadent, savory gravy over a mouth-watering mousse pâté. Fancy Feast gems. 2 gourmet pâtés in one convenient pack. Simply peel and plate to reveal a pyramid shape that makes eating delightful and pamper her with an experience as extraordinary as she is. Turn the everyday into the extraordinary with Fancy Feast gems.
The Hilton sale is on. Now through September 29th, you can save up to 20% on stays this fall and beyond. Long weekends, last-minute getaways, holiday gatherings. There's a Hilton stay for all of them. More moments, more experiences, more destinations. Now 20% off for a limited time because it matters where you stay. Don't wait. Book by September 29th and save up to 20% at Hilton.com. Terms apply. Hilton for the stay.
Well now, listen everybody, I thought I'd stop by, 'cause I haven't been here in a while, and in case you forgot about me, this is your buddy, Nick Cage, that's right. Anyway, I thought I'd stop by. Wait, what's that?
Nick, before you get yourself too worked up, Preston's doing another floor cast this week.
Floor cast, you say? What do you think, buddy? Nick Cage is above a floor cast? Hey, let me just get down here. On my knees. All right, man. Proceed. Take it away, honey.
Yeah, that wasn't weird or anything. Anyway, sending it off to you, Preston. Back to the the floor, whatever. Just play the podcast.
Thank you. Yes, indeed. Back at you, coming back at you from the floor, everybody. Had a really rough weekend. Didn't know if I was going to be able to do the podcast this week, but you know what? Here we are. We're on the floor. We're ready to go. It's the morning time. I've done some treatments. I've got a good little 15, 20-minute window probably to record something. So here we go. What are we going to talk about today? You know, we've talked about a lot of stuff. We've talked a lot about mindset. We talked a lot about strategy. We've talked a lot about marketing. We've talked a lot about the law of attraction. We've talked a lot about working with galleries. You know, we've talked about a lot of practical stuff, a lot of mindset stuff. But I want to get down to bare bones a little bit this week and talk about something that's a little bit intangible, which is, that's right, everybody, desire. Sorry about that. Desire. Yes, we're going to be talking about desire. Because if you are in this crazy dog-eat-dog cutthroat world of the arts or the art world, you know, you're going to have something really fueling everything underneath. You have to have a fire, a bonfire burning behind the scenes. Otherwise, you're going to have a hard time making it. And if you do get lucky enough to make it really early on with whatever, AI tools and hacks and stuff like that, you're going to need something to fall back on when things get hard, which is, yes, desire. And, you know, it's not something that really can be taught. It's something that has to be there, or something that, you know, you have to at least to dig deep and find in yourself. Like, find your why. Why are you doing art? Why do you want to be an artist? Why do you want to have a career? Do you want to just have fame? Do you want to just be a household name? Do you want to be hanging in people's houses and have people be like, oh my God, this so-and-so is such a great artist, aren't they? Well, that's great. That's a byproduct of being a good artist, and that's wonderful. But that is also just like having wealth and riches and the mansion on the hill and the infinity pool outside staring over the city. Those things are all great, but they're not going to keep you creating. They're not going to keep you, being an artist and pushing yourself to push through lulls and blocks and being challenged, like I'm being challenged right now. That's something that you can't really teach your way through something like that. There has to be a burning desire to get something done or to overcome obstacles as they come up or just to be able to make it in the first place. I'm going to give you some examples from my life just because what better way to give you a real life example than with myself. So I have always wanted to be a creator, let's put it that way. And yes, a lot of that through line has become the arts, like the visual arts. Yes, I wanted to be an actor. There was a time I wanted to be a stand-up comedian. There was a time that I wanted to be a singer and all these things. But all these things have performing in them and the arts and creativity within them. But I always drew my whole life. I filled sketchbooks my whole life. I was always creating and honing my craft. And when I got into college, it was like, I just started to get more and more after taking a bunch of classes in high school, art classes. That was the thing I took the most of when I was in high school was art classes. And I had a great art teacher. And then I ended up transitioning into college where I was doing theater and fine art. And I ended up, becoming the only artist to get a Krellsheimer assistantship with my mentor, Robert Gilmore. And, I just continued no matter how much I wanted to do something else or be an actor or, be in a band, which I was in a punk ska band. I was a lead singer. All these things kind of ended up falling to the wayside because underneath all of it was my desire to be a visual artist, to be a painter, to tell stories with figures and abstracts and texture and my life, sharing my life through the arts and through the visual arts. That has always been my desire. And it's something that I've wanted to do. It's something that is intangible to me because you can't really define or tell somebody what that feels like. When I went to the Tokyo Museum of Modern Art and I saw that Miro painting and I sat down in front of it for 45 minutes and it was vibrating, like the literal canvas was vibrating, and it brought tears to my eyes. And I knew in that moment, I was like, this is the feeling that I want to convey to other people. And that's something that has also carried me through that desire. It carried me through a lot of different stages of my life. And what does desire look like? What do these obstacles look like? If everything were easy, if it was just like, yeah, I'm going to get on social media and I'm going to join these art groups and I'm going to just start selling my work on these art marketplaces or on brick and mortar galleries. And then all of a sudden I'm going to be, famous and everybody's going to be buying my work. Well, that's not really true 99.9% of the time. Every once in a while, there's always outliers who get lucky and who do this. But a lot of those people fade away. Is it better to burn out or to fade away? Well, I would say it's better to do neither of them. I would say it's better to have a passion and a desire that carries you through all the hard times, carries you through all the challenges. I came to Los Angeles after graduating from college and working with my art professor for a year with this Krellsheimer assistantship. I worked with them and I taught and I had my own studio and I just furthered my love and my desire to be a fine artist. And I came to LA and I chose to work in a restaurant for 16 years. Now, I'm not saying this is something that you do. And I know some people are like, well, we all don't want to just work in a restaurant and hate our lives. I didn't hate my life, but it was definitely challenging. I was barely getting by. I lived in extreme poverty for at least 16, 17 years. And the only thing that kept me going was this dream, or some might say delusion, of being an artist and being a successful artist and impacting the world with my art. And it just kept me going. I would go home and I would fuel my creativity with this desire and I would create. And that's what got me through all the horrible rigmarole of eating shit as an artist, waiting tables, and yeah, I ate a lot of shit and a lot of, people waiting tables and doing some of these jobs, they do. And I wanted to quit so many times. And I was like, look, I have a degree. I could do something else. I even dabbled a couple times thinking, I could do this. I always felt like a phony. It didn't feel right. It just felt like I was throwing my life away. And that's where this desire really comes through. It's like, if you have this burning desire to do something, it's almost like there's no other option. I always talk about burning the boats, and like Tony Robbins,
That's right, everybody. I talk about burning the boats.
talk about burning the boats and like having nothing to fall back on. Well, I don't really think I consciously ever burned the boats. I just think I didn't have an option in my head or in my heart. I tried to do other things sometimes, and I just could not get myself to do it. I was like, well, I might as well just not even be here if I'm going to do this. So that's the desire I'm talking about. Getting through 16, 17 years of extreme poverty and extreme like depression. And then, yes, getting into Lyme disease, looking back, I had it when I was 26 and I put it into remission. It was a horrible year, horrible year. And now I've been going through this for 5 years, sinking into it even worse. And now I'm not able to leave the house. But you know what I am able to do? I can barely get through the day sometimes. And there were moments where I felt like, I don't know if I can get through the next second. I'm literally going to die. It's that terrible. And you know what kept me going the whole time? Yes, my wife, my relationship with my wife and the people I care about. But also it was my art. It was, I have to get well. I have to keep going so I can continue with my art. And there's so many times where I haven't felt well enough to do this podcast, but I do the podcast because it is something that I love to do. It's an extension of my art, and it's something that I want to do for the art world. And I want to hopefully impact other people and give them the same desire to do what I do and what I love. And sometimes the podcast is the only thing I can do for throughout the week, because I literally have this little window of time. I get it out. I do some editing as quickly as possible. And then I crash and I'm having, the rest of the day I'm on the floor. But you know what? It's something that I've committed to, and it's something that I have a desire and a love and a fire burning to do. And that keeps me going. And yes, I get in the studio when I can too. I'm not able to paint long paintings anymore, but I'm able to paint small ones. And I fumble my way through delivering work still. I still been selling work, and I have my wife help me, but I get my stuff out sometimes. Sometimes I don't even know how I do it with, dealing with this disease, but like I get it done. I get it out because there's a desire to do it. I have built this framework and I'm going to see it through. I'm either going to die or I'm going to get through this and continue on with my art career. So I keep doing this because of that burning desire. And I only say that not to, have a weird brag, like a flex that I'm doing, where it's like, look at me, I'm suffering so much. Not that. It's just an example of how strong this desire or this burning fire can be, that it keeps you going through the hardest of times and the most difficult and even darkest and maybe life-threatening of times. That's what I think a real artistic desire should be. And that'll see you through all the lulls. That'll see you through the financial troubles. That'll see you through the bad critiques. That'll see you through like maybe a failed show here and there. That'll see you through like, a gallery I was with, like me recently, closed its doors. That's a big challenge, but you know what? Everything's a challenge. And as long as you have that desire and that fire burning within you to keep creating your art and keep moving forward in whatever capacity that is, it doesn't really matter. They can throw whatever they want at you. And that's something.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold, soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Thing that is a touchstone for us as artists. That's something that gives us comfort, or should give us comfort, that you can do whatever you want to me, but you are not going to take away my art, and you're not going to take away my creative expression and my desire to create. So I just wanted to talk about that quickly today because it's on my mind. And yes, it is such a powerful thing. It's more powerful than anything that can be thrown at you. And if you don't have that and you want that, maybe it's time to dig deep and think about, what is your why? Why are you doing art? What do you want to achieve from it? Is doing your art alone good enough, even if you don't become successful? Is that something that's going to carry you through? I think that's important because like in manifestation and the law of attraction world, it's like when you have that why so strong and foundational in your life, and you're willing to almost like sacrifice anything else, you're willing to keep doing that, it's almost like the success will just come because you're not so needy for it anymore. It's not the most important thing in your life is to be successful. No, the most important thing in your life is to create and have that desire to be creative and to put new stuff out into the world that people can find and digest in whatever way you're showing it. That's just something I think we should all be thinking about. We should all have that at least in the back of our minds. And it's something that we can cultivate. Do a deep dive. There's so many distractions nowadays, but sometimes the best thing to do is lock yourself in a room and be alone with yourself for a while and have some time to think about your why. I've done a lot of soul searching in this time when I've been battling this illness, and my why has never changed. My desire to create, some of my relationships have changed. Some of the people that I want to see or work with coming through this have changed, but my desire to create and to, be an artist and to continue to paint and get that out in the world, that has not changed. And I think that is very powerful. So I'm going to leave it at that for today. My voice is kind of going anyway. I'm sure you can hear that, but let's think about that and let's cultivate that desire, because if you have that, almost nothing else matters and almost everything else will come as a byproduct of having that strong desire. So thanks for listening, everybody. Hope you're doing well out there. We will see you next time on the next episode as always. All right. Bye-bye.
Geez, yeah. Well, I don't know about you all, but that really resonated with old Nick Cage here and gave me a little bit of fuel to get out there and make my 477th movie of the year. All right.
Sadly, that's pretty accurate. You go, Nick. You do you. I'm sure some of us will watch it. And for all of you out there in podcast land, thanks for tuning in. This is Mumford.
And Nick, everybody.
That's right, and Nick. And we'll see you next time. So long, suckers.
This has been the Living Artist Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I just want you to know that I appreciate you being here, and I'm grateful to be in your ears. Your art and creative life on this planet is meaningful, so thank you for sharing it with me. If you like this podcast, whatever platform you're listening to it on, please subscribe and share it with your friends. You can also leave me a positive review to show your support. This helps me to reach more people with the algorithmic magic and keep the show going strong. If you want to see more of what I do and check out the art that I create, you can visit my website at www.pmsartwork.com or follow me on social media everywhere at PMS Artwork. That's it for now. See you back here next time.